Daniel, thank you so much for coming in today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my gosh. It's such a pleasure. And welcome to Santa Cruz. This is your second season at the Santa Cruz Symphony.
Yes.
And you have an amazing concert just about to happen Sunday, March 2nd.
We do.
And it is the yearly annual event, the Family Concert.
Yes.
And this year it's the
most exciting concert you've ever heard.
It's for sure.
For sure. No, it's really a terrific program, and we've had the great pleasure of already performing it 4 times.
Wow.
Over the last 2 days. We performed it twice on Monday at the Civic Auditorium here in Santa Cruz, and yesterday morning in Watsonville at the Mello Center, and we've performed probably for over 5,000 school children so far.
Oh.
And that's been sponsored, so they've been, able to come enjoy this for free. And, there's no better audience than...
And you're performing which show?
And we're performing the same show that we have, we'll perform on Sunday. So that is our family concert. It starts with Star Wars, and it continues on to a piece by Smetana called The Moldau. Then we go on to In the Hall of the Mountain King by Grieg. Then a terrific piece of jazz, Star Eyes, featuring the Kuumba Honors Jazz Band, a local award-winning high school jazz combo, and they play brilliantly. I mean, it's so exciting to feature them. This piece that was arranged by their leader, Dylan Bayaki, for orchestra and jazz band, just for this occasion.
Oh, how wonderful.
And then, oh, yes.
More.
And there's more.
Yes.
And then our featured piece is Peter and the Wolf, which is one of the most charming, fun, entertaining pieces of music with narration there is, probably the most famous. And we're so lucky and excited to have just a dream narrator. And Paul Whitworth, he, if you haven't heard of him before, he is the former director of Shakespeare Santa Cruz for 12 seasons. He's an internationally renowned actor and director. He was a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company for years, and the fact that we have him narrating Peter and the Wolf just makes it about the best version of this piece that you can hope to hear.
And just for our dear audience, Peter and the Wolf was composed by Sergei Prokofiev, and we started the show with a little Prokofiev, and it's just tremendous. I think you were saying before, Daniel Stewart, that Paul's perhaps maybe ruined Peter the Wolf for you as far as needing, really raising the bar for the narration of this piece.
Well, yeah, exactly. As if very lovingly and facetiously, but it's true. He just sets such a high bar in his delivery of this, and I've been lucky to have played this with many wonderful celebrities, Danny Glover, Sharon Stone, and many other actors. When I was growing up as a member of the San Francisco Youth Orchestra, I was a violist, and this was a yearly tradition that we played this piece with, a really charismatic narrator.
Oh, but Peter the
Wolf, exactly. So I played it from the orchestra's point of view, growing up, and this is my first time conducting it.
Oh,
and
how
so
exciting.
This is just a real treat for me and something I've looked forward to for a long time. And like I said, the ingredients for these particular concerts this week are just really stellar.
Oh, how wonderful. And so the family concert is different than the usual symphony event. This is a showcase of music to showcase the instruments of the symphony.
That's right.
It's
That's
a way
also
for
a big part of it.
Education for children to learn about the wind instruments and all the different, that which comprises the symphony.
Exactly. We have so many individual characteristics and characters in the orchestra that are represented by the different timbres that they have, the winds, the brass, the percussion, the strings. And so I always try to program this very carefully so that we have as diverse and exciting a presentation of these different elements. And I try to make a kind of thematic whole to it, too. So this year, for instance, is storytelling. The first piece, Star Wars, is probably... in addition to being the greatest movie music ever, it's very clearly depicting these characters that we love. Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. turn around to the audience and ask the kids to identify that. It's wonderful. They're already screaming, Princess Leia, Yoda, Darth Vader. And so it's great. So there's people in the first one. The second piece describes a river, so no people at all, but a part of nature. And it starts off in two distinct springs, well springs, the cold Moldau and the warmer. And then it describes as they merge and turn into the big river that feeds this center of Bohemia, of Prague, and it goes through the woods, through the countryside, and around the town, and describes its course. So it's a wonderful evocation of nature and natural things like that. The third piece, in the Hall of the Mountain King, describes a dance. Something else entirely. And it's very exciting for the little kids. I went crazy when I was a little kid. Apparently I would run in circles in the living room.
When you listen to this music?
Yes. It
makes
3
you
minutes
move,
long.
huh?
It makes you move. It starts off very still and quiet and poised. And then it builds and grows in intensity and volume and energy.
I know
to
that
this
piece
wild
of music.
Climax,
Yeah.
And it describes Peer Gynt from Ibsen's play as he kind of in this fantasy goes into in the mountain, kind of very much Lord of the Rings-esque, and he encounters trolls and goblins and this and that, and this wild dance. So it's great for the kids again.
And there's actual Santa Cruz ballet dancers?
Oh, no, forgive me. I should have mentioned this at the front. One of the features in our family programs, and we're very excited about always, is that we feature lots of various community groups. But the most important is our Santa Cruz County Youth Orchestra. And they play side by side with us. So what you see this week is not only the Santa Cruz Symphony, but next to every member of this orchestra is a youth orchestra player. So we have a much bigger orchestra than usual, and we have this wonderful educational experience for the kids, and something, again, I used to do as a violist. So that's great. And
then the Santa Cruz Ballet Theater.
Exactly, and the Santa Cruz Ballet Theater are just brilliant. They're wonderfully talented dancers, and we have such a good time collaborating with them. They're dancing to the Moldau and in the Hall of the Mountain King this time.
So if we wanted to take a little break, which piece of music do you think would be appropriate at this moment? Maestro, Danny, Stewart.
No Maestro, but Danny's good. How about, I would have to say that maybe the Ravel. That's a nice bit of beautiful contrast.
Luckily, I had my finger right on that button. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to listen to a little Ravel and come back to Artist on Art with Maestro Stewart. And we're back. How exciting. We're making plans here at the KZSC studios. This year's family concert, unfortunately, is sold out. Fortunately for the symphony, unfortunately for those that didn't get their tickets.
We're sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. But luckily, you've played to a whole bunch of the county kids.
Yes, that's the good news.
So the most important people have been taken care of, and then the rest of us, you either got your tickets or you didn't, folks. It's so exciting, and it makes me so happy. The Santa Cruz Symphony has been around since 1938. Is that correct?
I think that's about right.
And we're here with Maestro Danny Stewart, who is here for his second season. But this symphony is really special. It's not often that you have a town of our size with a full orchestra.
Exactly.
And then the incredible collaboration that's happened with the Santa Cruz Ballet Theater, that I know there was a spectacular event at Christmas time with the Nutcracker. I was able to interview the choreographer of that show, and to have the Nutcracker backed up by a full orchestra.
Yes.
And that's one of the missions of the Santa Cruz Symphony, isn't it? To have a full
Oh, certainly. It's to
orchestra.
Yes, it's to give everybody the experience of this live music making, and which is so special and life-changing, and something I believe in very, very much.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit about your background. First of all, can I ask you, how do you get to be a maestro?
Good question. Everybody
I would be a maestra, right?
Yes.
I could still do it. I'm not too old.
No, it's never too late. It's never too late. Well, everybody you ask will give you a different answer, because it's kind of a catch-22. You need experience to get the experience as a conductor, oftentimes. So you kind of have to make your own experience and be a very entrepreneurial at first. And in my case, I started as a violist. I played in orchestras for about 15 years. I did lots of chamber music, lots and lots of chamber music. I did solos. I traveled around and played as a solo violist. And so I had a very rich instrumental background that kind of taught me all about ensemble playing and the vast, wonderful repertoire that we have as orchestral musicians, chamber music musicians, operatic. And so it was a very organic transition for me, fortunately. I just wanted to know more about the pieces that I was playing and the context, because as an instrumentalist, you have a lot to deal with and a lot of subtleties and a lot of responsibilities just to play your own part. And so you have to concentrate very carefully on that. And so you're not able to really see the whole forest from your position. And so I got the scores and I started looking at them, and I was also very interested in composition. I was always doodling and taking things down and making small pieces. But as that grew and became more a big part of my life, I found that studying compositions as a conductor from that point of view was the greatest teacher for me. And so I went to school, and I was putting together various groups of my friends. I was actually leading the viola section in a summer festival in Switzerland for 6 summers in a row. And James Levine was the music director. And he noticed how I had been following the scores carefully. And at the end of the summer, the first one, he said, I notice you've been paying close attention. Do you conduct? I said, no. He said, well, have you ever considered conducting? I said, not really, no. He said, well, maybe you should. And so that really was the very beginning of it. I went back to school in Bloomington, Indiana, put together a Brahms symphony with my friends. Well, it was actually Verklärte Nacht by Schoenberg first, and then Brahms for symphony, and then that was it. I was hooked.
And Bloomington, Indiana is home of Indiana University. Some would argue having one of the greatest opera departments in the U.S. as well as music, and so
exactly,
it's a great privilege to be able to study symphony at IU, I would imagine.
Exactly. No, certainly. And from there, I was able to go to I was a member of the New World Symphony, leading the viola section, and also Michael Tilson Thomas was very generous and gave me conducting opportunities there. And
did he know that you had been in the San Francisco Youth?
Yes, exactly.
So
he actually
that was
recognized me
connection.
from there. I even played chamber
God.
music with him for KQED, a video, when I was 14. So I was very fortunate to have, his influence early on as well. And then I went up to the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia for my graduate studies. For 4 years, I studied conducting there. Wonderful. Yeah, so that's where I really cemented my...
Right.
conducting credentials, and I spent 3 years at the Aspen Music Festival and School in Colorado, which was terrific. And then I was incredibly fortunate enough to be invited to work at the Metropolitan Opera, where I currently work full time.
Wow!
So
So that's your New York gig.
That's my New York gig.
Holy moly! You're at the Metropolitan Opera.
Metropolitan Opera.
Wow! And so you're splitting your time between our little Santa Cruz and New York City.
Beautiful, wonderful Santa Cruz.
Yeah, you were saying before the show that you actually feel a little sad when you leave for New York, but
very sad.
So what are the seasons then?
Conflicted getting back on the plane.
Is there much of a conflict in the seasons?
You know, it's thanks to Maestro Levine. It's thanks to James Levine's support and enthusiasm for this splitting of my focus that I'm able to do this. He was very supportive from the beginning and thought it would be a terrific blend to my operatic work out there to have a real consistent symphonic part of my life.
Wow!
So, yes.
So how long have you been doing that? Danny?
This is my third...
Maestro Danny?
No. This is my third full year there, and it's been amazing. Just indescribably wonderful and fulfilling and busy and inspiring. And it's just a heck of a band they got there.
Heck of a band. What a dichotomy. You're going from the center of the U.S.'s symphony, opera, New York City, to our little hippie haven here in Santa Cruz.
I am so at home. You know, I'm from San Francisco and grew up in Sonoma, and it feels like home.
Right. How did you get this gig? Did they come after you, or?
Incredibly enough, I saw it posted, and I said...
And you jumped on it.
You know, I said, wow, God, Santa Cruz, wouldn't that be fantastic? And so, that was before I even had the Met position. And so I simply, submitted my resume. It went through various stages, and then when I was among the finalists who came to conduct a week's worth of concerts here, I had lots of interviews and met the folks behind this wonderful organization, and the chemistry between the orchestra and myself was just tremendous. I felt really so instantly welcomed and at home and inspired by these great colleagues, and I very, very, very happy for how it worked out.
Wonderful. Yeah. So right before the show, I heard this joke where when you start playing in the orchestra, they hand you a woodwind, and if you can't play the woodwind, they hand you some drumsticks.
Oh, no.
And if you can't play the drumsticks, then they give you one stick, and then you're the conductor. But you're totally
I thought it was
breaking.
going to a viola joke. I'm glad it went to a conductor joke.
Oh, it could have gone to a viola joke.
They usually do.
No way. Can you tell us that joke?
Conductors deserve jokes.
Not violas.
No, I defend violas.
So it's really remarkable that you come up from sitting in the symphony, sitting there playing an instrument.
I'm very glad for that perspective.
And maybe not a lot of conductors have that kind of perspective.
Not as many, funny enough. A lot of them come from a pianistic background, and it makes a lot of sense because you're dealing with counterpoint very...
so you're doing the harmony and the bass,
exactly.
The treble and the clef.
Yeah, it's a very useful perspective.
Which is one of the only instruments other than maybe the accordion that you get both, where you're learning both.
Exactly, yeah, the keyboard instruments and accordion as well.
And there are usually composers too, right?
Yes.
Conductors.
Composer conductors, yeah. I definitely consider myself a composer conductor, and actually one of my pieces is on the next next subscription set in March.
Okay, so we're going to take a little break. We're going to play some Symphonia.
Sure, yes.
And that's also kind of a segue to the next event, is that correct?
That's terrific, yes. This is a clip from my Symphonia, which was written about 4 4 years ago, and which we'll be playing along with some Lou Harrison and some Beethoven in March for the next Santa Cruz Symphony concerts.
And people can get those tickets.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we'll be back,
'em.
folks. We're going to listen to a little Sinfonia Fantasia, and we'll be back with the wonderful Maestro Daniel Stewart. You're listening to KZSC. That was original work by Maestro Danny Stewart. Symphonia the Second? Fantasia?
Yeah, it's the Fantasia from Symphonia, and that's the first movement of a piece of mine that will open our next concerts in March.
That's right. And so the next concert series, there's 2 left for this year. So we've had a full concert year. It started in October with Creation, and then November with Dreams and Visions, and then the Muse, which just happened in January. And the 4th is going to be Pacific Perspectives, Saturday, March 22nd at the Santa Cruz Civic Auditorium. All of the pieces are at the Civic, correct?
Exactly. Well, we perform on Saturday at the Civic, and then on Sunday at the Mello Center in Watsonville.
Which is a beautiful...
Yeah, it's a great venue.
Very beautiful. And the sound is pretty good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful acoustics out there.
And so this piece will be played March 22nd? 21st, sorry.
It'll be performed both days.
Yeah. Both days.
Exactly. The full program will. And it also features the amazing Lou Harrison, music of the late, great Lou Harrison, local musical legend. And my first time conducting this particular piece is Pacifica Rondo. And this is such an exciting piece for me to study and look forward to bringing it to life, because not only does it celebrate music of our California coast, one of the movements is called In Sequoia's Shade, but it also talks about or describes music from ancient Aztec times, from the music of the Korean court, music of the Pacific Islands. It just surveys all of these wonderful musical cultures of the Pacific from, probably a 500-year perspective. And it features some very exotic Asian instruments, and it features them in such lovingly detailed and carefully notated ways that you will have... it has 10 movements in the 25 minutes that this piece lasts, and it just goes over such a wide range of styles and does it so convincingly and conversationally and lovingly. It's a very, very special piece, and I'm very excited to bring it to life for Santa Cruz audiences.
It sounds really interesting to have just a couple minutes to give flavor, and of course enough time to respect that musical cultural reference that is made up of this. And then the last piece is Beethoven.
You can't go wrong with that. It's his violin concerto, and it's featuring a wonderful young soloist who comes to us from the Klein competition. We always sponsor their grand prize winner every year, and Eugen Lee is the last year's winner, and we're very proud to feature her on this piece. Tell
us about the Klein contest.
The Klein competition is an internationally renowned competition taking place out of San Francisco, and it's for strings only, so violins, violas, cellos, and basses, I think, as well. And we've just really spotted and nurtured great talent over the years, and we're very proud of our support of them.
Wonderful. Yeah. And then the 5th concert is Sacred and Profane, and that will be Saturday, May 9th, and then it's at the Civic Auditorium, and then Sunday, May 10th at the Mello Center in Watsonville. Tell us a little bit about this beautiful...
Of course.
Looks pretty
Happy
French.
to. Well, this is our big season finale, which always features the incredible Cabrillo Choir, the Cabrillo Symphonic Choir, led by the dynamic and brilliant Cheryl Anderson. And this is a collaboration that we're very proud to continue. And last year we did Mozart's Requiem and Bernstein's Chichester Psalms, and this year we're opening. It's a very ancient program, music of a program of ancient musics, variously. Okay. It starts with a very ceremonial piece by Lully, and it continues on to a wonderful piece just for the chorus alone. This is the O Magnum Mysterium by Vittoria. And then the main event is Karl Orff's Carmina Burana, which is one of the most exciting pieces of music ever written. You've probably heard it in a million soundtracks. It's the one that starts, boom, oh, Fortuna. Very apocalyptic sounding, but it goes on in many, many movements to describe all kinds of debaucherous monks, sacred, mystical, religious rites, very playful, mischievous sides of things. It's an amazingly diverse and wildly entertaining work, and it's one of the best pieces of all time for very good reasons. And we're also featuring 3 internationally renowned vocal soloists that I'm happy to bring here by way of my association with the Metropolitan Opera.
Wow!
Yes, and so
and it's not in your your brochure here.
Exactly, we were saving that as a big surprise. But I'm happy to say that we will be featuring Nadine Sierra, an incredible soprano, Anthony Roth Costanzo, an incredible countertenor, and John Moore, an incredible baritone. So those are all top-notch. You won't want to miss them. It's going to be a very special event.
It sounds fabulous. And again, the Cabrillo Symphonic Chorus will be playing along the whole time.
Yes.
And that is May 9th. Mm-hmm. If you need more information, you can go to the Santa Cruz Symphony website. .com. There you go. SantaCruzSymphony.com, and you'll be able to buy your tickets. Unfortunately, the family concert that we've been talking about, that's featuring Peter and the Wolf this Sunday, March 1st, at the Civic Auditorium, is sold out. But again, as Danny mentioned earlier in the show, Danny Stewart, the maestro of the Santa Cruz Symphony, they've been playing all week. You've been playing to thousands of little kids now, right?
Yes, we have. And they're the best audience.
Oh, I bet.
They're
and
just great.
Do you do the high schools as well?
No, unfortunately, but I would love to expand our outreach. But, in terms of the full symphonic concerts, I have some high school concerts specifically for high schoolers in development with the administration. But we do have outreach, and we go into the high schools and into the middle schools. Individual members of our orchestra do that, and we're very proud of the work we get to do that way.
And so, Danny, would you mind just telling us a little bit about the people that make up your orchestra?
Of course. Well, they're brilliant and inspiring and very hard-working musicians who actually most of them play in several orchestras in the Bay Area. We call it the Freeway Philharmonic because they'll play a concert in Santa Rosa and maybe as a matinee and drive 2 hours to another orchestra, play a concert, and then they teach, and they usually have other jobs as well because we don't go into music for the money. But I couldn't be happier to collaborate with this terrific, enthusiastic, generous group of colleagues.
And
it's really a treat.
How big is it? Is it 50-piece orchestra?
About 65. But, of course, we sometimes expand to the repertoire. Sometimes we go have as many as 100 instruments on stage. And sometimes we do more chamber music type of things. So we might only have 20 people on stage. But usually it's about 65. And
then what's exciting for Peter and the Wolf, the family concert, is that you have the youth symphony playing alongside.
Yes, yeah, that's
so then you get 120 people.
Yeah, we have a lot of folks up there.
But it sounds really great.
It does. It's great to launch into Star Wars, the first piece on our family program.
Oh,
and
I bet
you hear the gasps from all the kids. They just love it. It's a great feeling.
And
I know that.
And the season, this youth and education program that we've been doing has actually been going on since 1966.
Here. Go Santa Cruz Symphony.
Holy moly. And again, this year's program, the theme is storytelling, and it starts with the Star Wars, then it goes into a jazz standard, Star Eyes.
Yeah, actually, Star Wars, and then the Moldau by Smetana.
Then the Moldau.
And then In the Hall of the Mountain King by Grieg, and then Star Eyes in this terrific arrangement by Dylan Bayaki and his featuring his Kuumba Honors Jazz Band, and then wrapping up with Peter and the Wolf, narrated by Paul Whitworth.
And then the Peer Gynt is also accompanied by dancers with the Santa Cruz Ballet Theater.
Exactly, and the Moldau as well. So they're featured on 2 pieces.
How, that's really wonderful, and it's not often that you get to have dance with symphony. Mm-hmm. And so it's really
not
great to
enough.
just keep those kids excited about what's going on instead of getting
all
tired.
The possibilities, all the artistic outlets that we have available in this very rich community.
And the kids get to go on and meet the instruments and talk to the orchestra members.
Yes, that's something that we call our Orchestral Petting Zoo. It's really a chance for the kids to come up and get to, try the instruments that they've just been watching. Or if they've ever, specifically wanted to try this instrument or that, they can not only do that, but they have members of our symphony there, helping them get a feeling for what these instruments are all about.
That's tremendous. We're going to take a quick little break. We're going to listen to a little Shostakovich, and we'll come right back and finish our conversation with Maestro Danny Stewart. Stay tuned, everybody. Hey, and we're back. That was quick Shostakovich. We're talking to Danny Stewart today on Artists on Art. It's a great pleasure to be speaking to the maestro who has been with the Santa Cruz Symphony for the 2nd season. Daniel Stewart is the music director for you had 5 concerts this year, not including the family concert.
Exactly.
So you were just showing us this brochure, beautiful Santa Cruz Symphony brochure that has a beautiful picture of the boardwalk, looking at it long ways, and it has a beautiful sand drawing on the beach in front of the boardwalk that's very musical and special. Would you mind telling us about it?
Sure, I'd
Danny?
be happy to. This is something that was some real wonderful serendipity. I discovered the wonderful artist Andres Amador, who does these incredible murals in sand on the beach, a very temporal kind of art. It's only only there as long as the tide is out, and it's a wonderful, incredibly beautiful and poignant type of art he does. And I was just a big fan. And then when I began this position with the symphony, I contacted him and said, "Is there any chance you'd like to collaborate?" And he did. And fortunately, we found some time, and he came up with this beautiful design. And he walked ahead and stenciled it with a thin line. He said, "Okay, you follow me and rake it in." And so for 3 hours, we kind of went back and forth in front of the boardwalk here in Santa Cruz, and we made this musical design. And then he flew up a little drone with the camera on it, took some photos, and it's really fun for me to see, that it turned into our season poster, our season brochure, and also that it helped inspire our new logo, which we just designed this year.
Oh, and who created the new logo?
Cosmic Design.
Oh, yeah, I love those
local
guys.
Design group, and they just did a brilliant job, and we're very excited about it all.
Oh, yeah. Eric wrestler,
Yes,
has been on
exactly.
my show. He made
Hey,
my logo, too.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
I feel so special. So, describe the logo to us.
Sure. Well,
it's an interesting process making a logo.
Exactly.
First of all,
it's actually incredible. I was biting my tongue because I didn't want to influence their first round of design, and they came up with many different ideas, and I was really looking forward to showing him that picture that Andres designed. But even before that happened, their last thing that they came up with was this, which was kind of a riff on the music staff, a wavy kind of, music staff coming to life. And I immediately said, that one. Unfortunately, everybody agreed. And so it was really this wild serendipity that led to this as well. But a lot of people see the ocean in the back, the mountains here, and then the trees,
yeah.
the verdant valleys that we have here too. So I think it actually comes out very
so it's got 4 lines, like the 4 bars.
Well, yeah, 5 actually, and
5.
it's just kind of, some of them are more dynamic than others, but it also resembles, the sound waves that are the foundation for everything that we do here. So it's very nice, even little treble clef. So many things in this little image.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of very artistically and playfully represents a lot of
the essential qualities of the Santa Cruz Symphony.
Of the Santa Cruz Symphony and its terrific environment.
Right. Yeah. So did they also help with the website?
Yes,
they
did. They redesigned
website.
Our website, and I'm so happy about it. It's very beautiful, and yeah, it's a great step into the future that we're building together.
I was admiring that website as I was looking at it today to prepare for today's show, and it has the cosmic feel to it. It's interesting.
Hear.
When a design company can express itself in the myriad organizations that they've been working with over the last couple of years, including the Santa Cruz Symphony. That's one of the most beautiful things about our Santa Cruz Symphony is all the different organizations with which you collaborate, from the Santa Cruz Ballet to the Cabrillo Choral Symphony or Choral Orchestra. Who else do you work with? Is this something that the symphony's been
That's a great question.
Consciously, mindfully going after.
Most definitely. We try to have as diverse a selection of collaborators as possible, and with a community as artistically rich as this, it's just amazing. We have so many options. But I'm also excited. I'll tell you about several other guests that I'm working on bringing in to the area. I wonder if I'm allowed to say this.
Oh!
Well, some really famous musical acts, that I've close contacts with are actively trying to get out here and collaborate with us.
For the next season?
Don't hate me if it doesn't happen. Well, next season and beyond, but there's a potential. Bjork's looking into working with us, for example. I mean. Again,
You didn't hear it here, folks.
Didn't hear it here. You kind of did, but anyway, we just want to really expand the imprint of what a symphony means in this day and age. I mean, because classical music itself is such a misnomer. It's not something. It's not a museum piece. It's very much a part of the here and now, and it always has been. Music is kind of like a jukebox of the last 400 years of idioms, of styles, of different musical ways, and it all gets folded into this wonderfully rich history of music and notated music. And so everything from dubstep to jazz to Gregorian chant is in classical music and is represented in various ways. And so I want to make sure that people really know that this is nothing staid or formal. It's thrilling, it's blood and guts, it's really impactful communication, and that's what we're here to do.
Wow. Bjork, huh? She does some really amazing concerts, and
she's amazing.
On a symphonic level, she uses symphonies.
Exactly. She collaborates with such a broad spectrum of artists, and so I want to...
Whew. Well, before that happens, though, let's talk about one more time. Let's give everybody the overview of the. Again, you can go to SantaCruzSymphony.com and get all the information. But we have 2 more concerts coming up. The Pacific Perspectives happening Saturday, March 21st at the Civic Auditorium, and March 22nd at the Mello Center in Watsonville. And this will be having your piece, Symphonia, by Daniel Stewart, that we got to listen to, which is so beautiful. And then Lou Harrison's piece, Pacifica Rondo. And the last piece, the main event, is the Beethoven Violin Concerto in D major with guest Eugene Lee, the violinist who won last year's Klein competition. And then we have the 5th concert, The Sacred and Profane, and that will be Saturday, May 9th at the Civic Auditorium and Sunday, May 10th at the Mello Center in Watsonville. And this is your partnership with the Cabrillo Symphonic Chorus. And this will have, again, 3 pieces: Luli, Marche pour la Cérémonie des Turcs. So this is a Turkish-inspired piece. Then Victoria, O Magnum Mysterium. And then we have Orff, Carmina Burana, which will have the following guest soloists coming in.
Yes, it will feature Nadine Sierra, amazing soprano, who will actually be singing the Countess in Figaro, Le Nozze di Figaro, which happened with the San Francisco Symphony at that time. We'll have Anthony Roth Costanzo, who is a brilliant countertenor, Metropolitan Opera star, big star, and John Moore, also from the Metropolitan Opera, a very gifted and lyrical baritone. We're very excited to feature.
And also, you've been working for the very next event for the Santa Cruz Symphony, which is happening March 1st, this Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Civic Auditorium. It is sold out, and it is the annual family concert. But fortunately, for all you parents that are listening, Peter and the Wolf, this actually has been played to, more than likely, your small person. So don't be too sad. But the family concert this March 1st, Peter and the Wolf, with the remarkable Paul Whitworth, who will be the narrator.
Here.
Paul Whitworth is of the... he's a part of the Shakespeare...
Yes, he led Shakespeare Santa Cruz for 12 years. Just a phenomenally gifted and generous artist.
And he's a part of the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Yes, he was. He started there.
Well, he started
Not too
there.
Shabby.
And then our Danny Stewart yourself, he's going to be running back and forth between here and New York City, where he is the symphony director for...
No. Not quite, no.
Not yet.
I'm the apprentice to James Levine there.
You're the apprentice to the symphony conductor.
To the music director of the Metropolitan Opera, James Levine, yeah.
What a thrill it's been to have you on, Danny. I am so delighted to have you here today on Artists on Art and to be a part of our Santa Cruz Symphony. It's just tremendous, and I can't wait to see your productions and hear more about it, and I hope you can come back on. And
anytime. Thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure to be
maybe
here.
You can bring Bjork with you the next time you come on. I want to thank everybody for listening today, especially Danny Stewart for taking the time and talking with us, and then Emmeline Young, who's here in the studio, and Kristen Carlson, and then I want to thank Vanya Benavides for live tweeting during the show. If you missed any part of it, this will be broadcast, podcast, and vcasts on artistonart.com.